6.4 million children have been diagnosed with ADHD, and 4% of American adults suffer from this disorder. We all know someone who is affected by ADHD or affected by this disorder personally ourselves. I have learned a lot about attention deficit disorder through online research and through personal experiences with people that do suffer from this. So today I will be telling you about what attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is, treatments and medications for ADHD, and why medication is useful for those affected by ADHD. I think medications such as stimulants should be used in the treatment of ADHD because it helps improve one's ability to focus, work, and learn. According to an article from NIMH.gov published March 2016, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a brain disorder marked by ongoing pattern of inattention or hyperactivity and impulsivity that interfere with the functions or development. There's multiple symptoms of ADHD, but the three main ones are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Inattention means a person just has trouble focusing or performing simple everyday tasks. Hyperactivity means that they can't hold still for a certain amount of time and they're always fidgeting or like tapping their feet. Impulsivity is when people think without or act without thinking, so they'll just blurt things out without filtering them or anything. Attention deficit disorder is a disorder that's really hard to diagnose. It's really normal to have symptoms, like 3 symptoms to some degree, but people with ADHD have them like more severe, or they cause like interference with their social and their school life. But the diagnosis of ADHD requires extensive evaluations by a licensed doctor. Article ADHD continues to fail the reliability test by Martin Whiteley says that factors such as gender, doctor, parental attitude, and the influences of teachers all play an important role in the diagnosis of ADHD, but none of these are neurological factors. And I've had a personal experience with this. My little brother Noah, his teachers kept telling my parents that he had ADHD because he was so disorganized and he would always just like act out in class. And so they like had my parents go get him tested, and it turns out that he didn't have ADHD because he could like sit there and read a book for hours and sit there and always could focus on his homework. He just had like certain degrees and levels of other areas of ADHD, but didn't actually have ADHD itself. So a lot goes into the diagnosis of ADHD because it is something that is so easily to misdiagnose. But for ADHD, there's multiple different treatment options. Article ADHD Symptoms and Treatments Using Stimulants Medication by Karen Frank says the most commonly used drugs to treat ADHD are Adderall and Vyvanse, which are effective in your system for 10 to 12 hours. But then there's other stimulants that are methylene and dextrin, which are short-acting stimulants, so they're only in your system for 2 to 5 hours. And there's a lot of side effects that come along with using medication to treat ADHD, such as loss of appetite or like trouble sleeping or sometimes nausea and vomiting. So that's why parents are kind of iffy about the treatment of ADHD with medication. Parents will often try and find different alternatives to ADHD. So a common worry is that children are going to be overdiagnosed or overprescribed on their medicine, but a lot goes into the process of diagnosing ADHD. And for giving them medication, they start them on a lower dosage so that it's really hard for them to over-medicate a person, because each week they will give more and more dosage to see like what helps most, and so it's mostly a trial and error kind of thing. These stimulants are used to increase the brain's chemical dopamine, which is essential for thinking. And there's other options for the treatment of ADHD. There's some non-medical treatments for ADHD, like counseling, support groups, cognitive behavioral groups, or parental training, but none of these show improving effects on children, according to article The Diagnosis and Medical Treatment of ADHD in Children and Adolescents by Robert Willwood. And so parents will try and find like different alternatives to this, but none of these are as effective as actually using medication to treat ADHD. Article Meds or No Meds from healthusnews.com found that in a study conducted on adults with ADHD that the use of psychotherapeutic treatment has yet to show any substantial impacts on the treatment of ADHD, which is why I think that using counseling and such as support groups to like help children try and calm down or get to the root of why children act out in class, I don't think any of these are as effective as the use of medication. And my best friend Lily, I've always known that she had ADHD. She always acts out like impulsively. When we sit down and do homework, she'll distract everybody so like nobody can do homework around her. And so I always knew that she had ADHD, and she always knew it too, but she never went in and got diagnosed. And so a couple months ago, she went into the doctors, and they were like, "You definitely have ADHD," and like the process of getting diagnosed like is a long process. So it's not like you can go in and just get diagnosed, which is something that people think you can do, which is why they think that ADHD isn't actually a real disorder, but it actually was a long process. And I've noticed like a significant difference in the way that she acts and like how much she can focus so much better. And she's just like in general a much calmer person. Now that I've told you about what ADHD is, the treatment and medications of ADHD, and why medication should be used as a form to treat ADHD, I believe attention deficit disorder isn't something that should be taken lightly. In today's society, it isn't uncommon for our peers to be affected by this mental disorder. The use of stimulant medication is beneficial because it can help improve a person's everyday life tasks. I'm supportive of medications being used to treat ADHD because I've personally seen the benefits of this drug. Thank you.